Alien Earth Episode 4 debuted on Tuesday night, which means we are halfway through the season of Alien Earth. So, if you don't know, I've been loving the show so far. The first episode wasn't the biggest fan of, but the second and third episode have me all in, so I am fully invested in this show. Before I give you my review of Episode 4, let me know down below in the comments what are your thoughts on Episode 4. I don't have many thoughts, but I'm also going to share my theories for the rest of the season, so let me know your theories down below. And while you're down there, if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button, the like button, and the bell, so you never miss another Alien Earth review. And with that said, Episode 4 is very much a filler episode. It is an episode that gets us from the end of Episode 3 to the beginning of Episode 5. And I assume that the beginning of Episode 5 and the entirety of Episode 5 is going to be awesome because this episode sets stuff up, but it's also just a lot of one-on-one conversations. A lot of people just sitting around talking. I didn't dislike it. I still thought it was a good episode. Still made me think, had those think of the theories, think of the conversations they had. But also, besides Episode 1, it is the weakest episode so far for me. The episode opens up with Wendy, who at the end of Episode 3 we found out can hear the aliens, just like everybody's favorite, Ripley. She can hear aliens too. So, she can hear aliens, they're doing some research. Her brother Joseph decides to be like, yo, I don't want her doing all this, but the scientists and Wendy herself decide that they want to research this, listen to the aliens, so they do little beep, 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 boop, 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 boop stuff, and she can hear the aliens. I wasn't sure what I thought of her being able to hear the aliens once it was introduced at the end of the third episode. But here I'm like, okay, yeah, this is interesting. They are going to go down a route where it's for science and it's going to propel the story in a much needed way. And the way the episode ended really proved my theory of how it's going to incorporate itself into the show. So I'm completely fine with her being able to hear the aliens. From here on out, we're just going to go by individual character, talk about what they've been doing this episode. The most interesting out of them all is Slightly, who is the Indian guy. And if you don't know, in Episode 3, him and Morrow having this communication between them. Morrow is trying to become his friend so he can get Slightly to do stuff for him. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Morrow tries to convince Slightly to get the egg that they got from the Weyland-Yutani ship and bring it to him. Slightly's going to try to do it. Eventually, he can't do it. He figures that, I can't do it, it's too hard. But earlier in the episode, they're having this conversation. Morrow tells Slightly his name. Slightly tells him his real name, the kid name before he became Slightly. And Morrow uses this information to go find his mother and his siblings and is threatening their lives if he doesn't get the egg. Interesting stuff. Again, Morrow is one of my favorite characters, probably the character I'm most invested in his plot in the show, and so I'm really digging what they are doing with him so far, and especially this. So he convinces Slightly that he has to get a human to go in there, look down the egg, get a facehugger attached, and once the facehugger goes, bring the guy who just had the facehugger attached to him, because obviously, the alien will pounce out of your chest. I'm very excited to see where this goes, mainly because of my working theory that either Slightly or Joe's going to die in Episode 5, because I think Slightly's going to go after Joe. But again, Morrow's plotline I'm really invested in, and again, very invested to see how it goes in the next episode, Episode 5. So there's actual stakes here, there's tension. Later on in the episode, Slightly tells Wendy, because obviously Joe's her brother, and says, yo, I think Joe shouldn't be here because we don't get it, our family's here, which is a very good point. I don't think Joe I do think Joe should be there. I think all of the family should be there, but it's only Joe, and especially because Slightly's family is now in danger. So I think there's gonna be a death in the next episode, either Joe or Slightly. We'll talk about that here later on. The redhead kid, what's going on with her in this episode? Oh yeah, she's pregnant? Yep, she's preggers. Obviously, she's not pregnant, not only because she's a robot, but because the show would be really dark if they made a 13-year-old kid in an adult body get pregnant. That would not be a good idea. So, my working theory is somehow, someway, an alien put its baby inside of her, and she's got an alien in there. And here's another working theory. I think she's going to die in the coming episodes because I think that for research purposes, Prodigy is going to try to get that alien out of her, and it's eventually going to kill her. If there's an alien in there. I fully believe that there's an alien in there. If not, I wonder why they decided to go the direction where she's pregnant, because that's really freaking weird, if I'm being honest. But she also has a conversation with the scientist, one of the scientists that put their kids' bodies into these adult bodies, and the conversation basically goes where the scientist is trying to ask these questions, and the girl's like, yeah, I don't want to talk about that. And when she keeps pushing, she gets very dangerous, very violent. This redhead character was never a character that's fully explored so far, but now she's being explored. Now she's becoming a well thought out character inside of this episode because she goes crazy. She jumps on her, pounces on her chest. Hey, I said I don't want to talk about that. To where eventually the scientist gets up, presses the button under the desk, and tells a superior that it's a code level 3, which I'm assuming is pretty bad. Unfortunately, that was the last scene in the episode with them. Very curious what's going on there. Very curious who knocked her up and why it's probably an alien. And again, a working theory I have is that there's an alien inside of her. Somehow it got inside of her, and she's going to die as they try to get the alien out of her in the coming episodes. Speaking of Prodigy, you got Kid Cavalier, and basically, I'm starting to not like him as much as I did at the beginning of the season, because it just feels to me like he's making the dumbest decisions possible. Oh, our $1 billion idea that can make humans immortal, yeah, let's send them after xenomorphs. I don't give a dang if they're kids. After xenomorph. He wants to have a conversation with people that can be smarter than him. They're kids, brother. He sits down with Wendy and has this conversation like, yeah, I think I'm going to send your brother back, you know? And she's like, no, please. And he's like, please, that's the best you got? Yeah, brother, she is 13 years old. What do you think? She's going to pull out a freaking dictionary and go through all the words? I don't think you should send my brother home because it goes against the physical hypotenuse of our brain waves into each other's system. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But apparently that's what he thinks that he wants her to say, because he's just stupid. Like, keeping the aliens on this island with everybody after he saw the damage they did. Stupid. The show's trying to play him off as, oh, he's one of the smartest people on Earth. No, I don't think he is. I'm actually beginning to think he's stupid. I'm not losing interest in the character. I'm still invested in him. I still like what he's doing, and I'm still curious to what's going on in the next coming episodes. But he just seems to be the one dumb character that's making wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. And it's really going to impact how the finales, the final 4 episodes of this season play out. So, alright, what else happens? We talked about Morrow and Slightly and what's going on there. We talked about the redhead pregnant girl. We talked about Kid Cavalier. Joe's on the island. And the way the episode wraps up is, if you don't know, in the end of episode 3, they put a little alien sperm thing inside Joe's lungs because he's got a lung transplant now. And so Wendy walks up to it. She starts communicating with it. And out pops a xenomorph. Yes, that's right. Prodigy made a xenomorph come out of lungs instead of the body. I'm sorry, that's awesome. That's very cool. And if you don't know, a xenomorph is now out. They're screwed. It's over for them. The xenomorph's on the loose. You all gotta run. Again, Kid Cavalier should not have kept them on the island. But theories to what's going to happen in the next episode, because I think episode 5 is going to be insane. I think they're going to do the biggest stuff in episode 5. There's probably going to be deaths. There's probably going to be emotions. So, like I mentioned, I think Slightly... Here's exactly how I personally think it's going to play out. Slightly is going to kidnap Joe, bring him to the egg, and Joe is going to get a face hugger on him and die. And that xenomorph that pops... Or, actually... Either that or die and the xenomorph pops out and kills Slightly. Either that or the xenomorph that's already on the loose is going to kill Slightly, and Joe's going to get the face hugger off him before he can be impregnated by the face hugger. And then also, I think the redhead, like I said, has a xenomorph inside of her. And as they try to get the xenomorph out, end up killing her in the process. So there's going to be deaths, there's going to be chaos. Episode 5 can very well disappoint me if they don't lean into this, but everything that was set up here in episode 4 makes me incredibly excited for episode 5. This episode's very clearly a setup episode, but if they pay off what they set up in this episode, this show could go from really good to absolutely fantastic alien stuff and jump up my alien ranking, which I am going to have once the show wraps up. Alright, I don't have any other thoughts on episode 4, but I hope you do, so tell me down below in the comments. And while you're down there, if you would hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell, so you never miss another video in the Alien Earth review series. And thank you guys for clicking on this one. Subscribe.